Okay, everyone. Hello and welcome. And we have another graduate, another new TRE provider, Bethany Marshall from UK. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Bethany Marshall, and I'm currently living in Cambridge, which I've been living in for about 2 years now. But I'd say this has been the kind of final place where I've kind of completed this wonderful journey with Simba. But it started a long time ago, back in when I was living in Thailand with Simba, and I undertook TRE as a practice for myself. And I found that doing it for myself also allowed me to open up so many more areas in helping other people in the areas which I wanted to help other people.
Amazing. And I remember, I think we had sessions when I was still a student in the program. I think we've had on and off sessions for many years now. So
Mm.
you were one of the first people when I was becoming a provider like you that I had to work with, if I don't mistake it, my memory.
No, you're right there, and found as you said, it has come full circle in that sense. As I think when you were training, I think I was one of the people which was working with you, and I don't know whether you managed to learn something from working with me, but I found it's been such an important experience while I've been training, having those people who have allowed me to work with them. And it's allowed me to learn more about my nervous system, how I react to other people, and how that might affect people, and how I can help people along the way of doing that rather than harming them through my reactions. So I've had the chance to see what comes up for me before it's had the opportunity to spill or not help people in the way I want. Yeah.
Hmm. And I didn't mention my name, Simba Stenqvist, of course. If you don't know me, if I show up in another channel than my own, of course. And originally from Sweden, moved to Thailand, and I work as a somatic body worker, coach, and TRE certification trainer. And I think, really to continue on your answer there, I did learn a lot working from you because I felt that you were, yeah, you really come into a practice and trust the person that you work with. If you choose to show up somewhere, you choose to trust that person, right? Like it feels like you really choose who you go to learn from, both as a student, but also if it's for your own, if you're a student or yoga or whatever you go to. And I kind of felt that confidence. I really built that confidence that you had that trust in me as a becoming provider to allow yourself to go deep. And I think that's a really unique strength to make that choice that already from the beginning you kind of had that inner compass. This feels safe. And if it feels safe, I'm going for it, right? If I'm
Mhm.
not going, I'm not going for it. But if it feels safe, I'm choosing to go. How how did that come across for you? Like where do you, is that something you learned, or do you always have that ability to know this is who I want to work with and this is how I know it's safe for me?
Well, I actually find it interesting that you've brought this up because it's big thing that I've learned, and I think definitely throughout the studying and reading which TRE has brought up. I mean, safety is one of the absolute major components because we cannot relax in our body unless we feel safe, and that will affect every single organ, every single way we show up, and how we are around someone. And that's what I really found with TRE. Major reason which it works is the therapeutic relationship. And I found it interesting that you said that I showed up and was all in. And um, I think maybe it's one of the reasons which attracted me to TRE is I did feel very safe in our therapeutic relationship. And maybe it was the way that you taught somatic body work and were around people. To me, it came across as putting me at ease. It didn't feel like any false intentions. It really felt like the only reason that you were there was to help me figure out things about myself, help me feel comfortable in my own body, in my own nervous system, and to help me learn. And I've actually come from a past where I didn't trust relationships that easily at all, particularly therapeutic ones. Or I have part of my experience is I've visited a lot of different facilities where the aim is to help people, and I've found that element missing, that element of trust and safety, and just taking that time to build up that therapeutic relationship of, you are safe, I'm here for you. And I do think I mean, I don't think it's necessarily people's fault, but I think these things can become businesses and they lose the aim of why they're there. And I think that's what I really want to bring to the practice. And what I really felt from you at Living with the Spirit is the only reason that you were there was to learn. You were obviously fascinated in what you were doing and really enjoyed it. And I want to bring that into my own practice, just taking that, even if it takes a bit longer, just making someone feel safe. Because I think particularly if someone has, I mean, they've been trying to heal for a long time and been going through experiences where they've been let down, or maybe they're healing because they've gone through rejection or been through mistrusting relationships in the past. So it will take more time to build that. And I really hope that TRE and somatic body work, and I know personally, because I also work with children, I use a lot of dance and movement and playfulness practices as well, and just encouraging that playfulness back, that comes with safety. A lot of the things I found very interesting was the safer you feel, the more capacity your brain has to be flexible and play. And so what if you bring in the play element first with the safety, and it might open up that flexibility, which will in turn encourage that connection. Yeah.
Wow, you just put it so eloquently in those words. And I'm really honored that you felt that way with us. And I think that's, for me personally, that's been my own journey with teachers of any kind, in school, in martial arts, in different disciplines, but also I've seen coaches, mentors, and therapists for stress, for anxiety. I've seen people for various reasons, performance anxiety and things like that. And for me, I think what we do when we work with theory, the way that I teach it anyway, and the way that I was taught, is that it is a very authentic meeting with yourself, your nervous system. And it doesn't take anything away from anything else you taught, but it teaches you to authentically be safe in yourself. And when you feel safe within yourself, you're able to recreate a space where someone else can explore different ways to find safety for them. So I'm not trying to push you into a certain area or, get you to say or do something. And just like you said, I don't think necessarily it comes out of malice. There might be different incentives, money, or maybe just lack of information. And I think it is something very important for any practitioner, healer, therapist to do that inner work for yourself first, because that environment, that place that you come from, will ultimately be what you can lead someone else to. And that will just enhance the intellectual therapeutic skills, because now you're walking with embodiment and the mental framework hand in hand. And I think that's really the key for anything, even if it's not serious therapy, even if it's working with kids and doing yoga and play, like you said, because it teaches you to play. And when you play, as research sure, it takes about 30 repetitions to learn something when you play, 300 times when you relax. And if you learn how to do something in a certain way and you need to redo it, it can take up to 10,000 or 3,000 repetition to relearn something. So you literally reshaping your brain as you play.
Yeah. I mean, and I completely agree with you on it not being necessarily out of malice that things don't work, but particularly with someone is having to see a lot of people in one go, it can sometimes really drain you. And I don't think necessarily in all areas practitioners are taught to really notice what's going on in their nervous system. And I think, again, that's what I love about the practice is the whole first section is just working on yourself. And so you are so, by the time you start working with people, you don't really have a choice but to be in tune with what's going on a little bit. And that does help you, like it helps me connect with others. Because something I definitely noticed for myself as I used to connect with people in very much a teacher view as a performer. And I worked in community therapy before. And even then I found after practicing TRE, I was showing up very much as this teacher, smiling showman, performer. And I think, yes, that can be, it worked for me in some areas because it soothes, particularly if you've got a lot of people. However, it doesn't create necessarily the most authentic connections. And so I think what this practice has taught me is to really, is to show up as myself, and yeah, and bring that. I'd actually like to call it honesty, that like honest experience of myself. So even if it is a bit more, I mean, obviously I wouldn't come in crying because I've had a bad day. That's just bad boundaries. But just if it is a slightly more, my nervous system is a little bit on edge, like I don't have to cover it up completely. I can name it, and we can both work on grounding together as an kind of as an authentic therapeutic relationship. And same now, it's helped me work here with in community therapy is I actually have found that I drain out too quickly if I'm always that performer role. And sometimes I can be a little bit more turned down. And it's not actually necessarily good for my nervous system to be that heightened level all the time. So I've found out a lot about myself, which I hope will help me help others. But I'm just looking forward to having more experiences with others and allowing what I've learned to really be brought forward. Yeah.
And I'm sure you will. And it's something very special being that authentic, because for me at least, seeing it both as just a human, but also as a teacher and practitioner, it creates a relatability, because it doesn't matter if you do all of this practice, you know, about grounding, you've been doing it for years, you will still have a bad day. There will still be something that triggers you. And I think how you show up with that, and you're able to show that, of course, you know, having that boundaries in terms of, I'm here to work, I'm not here fully private, right? But still there's a fine balance of you are you. And I think for me, that's really what I like about TRE, and that I've had naturally, that sure, I can polish and maybe hold some stuff back, and you know, change my language a little bit in a certain context, but you still show up as you, right? It's not like a completely different person. It's a portion of you, and I think that's what makes it relatable, and the safety and the trust that we discussed a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's so important that anyone that you're working with is, you see them as human, and as not as a being above you, because they're not. And I think that's where a lot of danger can come in actually in healing roles, is person working with you, they're not a higher power. They are someone there to facilitate and help you. They can't tell you what to do. So even though I strongly believe that TRE and trauma release and somatic work is a brilliant source, like, because I say that shouldn't be the reason someone does it. Like, my word is not what they should do. It's I am there to say my experiences and help them figure out what is best for them. And I think that's definitely something I learned is, so originally my first job working in therapy was working with refugee children.
Mm.
Um, and I actually found, and a lot, they were encouraged to see people helping them, or people in a what seemed on the outside as less difficult situation than them, as better than them. And I would actually say, even though I have nothing bad to say about the children, and selfishly, it was quite wonderful being treated like that. But I don't think it was the best for their healing practice to see me coming in to help them as someone so much to look up to, when actually I'm just human and I'm someone who's been through my own struggles as well. So and it was quite hard to get through to them after they had really been taught you have to treat people coming to help you as better than you. And so I think something I've learned from that to take away is to really start off by being really that equal power level as someone coming in, being like the only person I've done some research, done some education, done some reading on this subject, but I started off in the same place as you, and it's just I've gone this route for learning, and I'd love to show you what I've learned. Um, yeah, rather than I know more than you, because that's not the case. They can learn just as much as me if they choose to go that route.
I agree. I usually tell people my job is not to change you. My job is to inspire you, make you feel seen and heard and safe, and teach you how to do that for yourself. And if anything, I see myself as the person that guides someone to a crossroad and say, I'm here to teach you that you have a choice. This is how you've been living life, and this is if you want to change it to something new. I have no opinions in the matter. You can do whatever. I owe it to you as part of my purpose to show you that there is a choice. And then from there, what we want to do is up to us. And I think that's when I talked with the founder, Dr. David Berceli, founder of TRE, he said that too. He said, I really want to show people that there is a choice and an option to initiate this natural tremoring mechanism in the body that TRE is, to release stress and tension from the nervous system. It's important that people know that they have that opportunity. And if they want, of course, that they have tried it, so they know that option is available for them. Whether they continue use it on their own or not, that's more of a personal choice. But just knowing that it's readily available and having been exposed to an opportunity, I think that is something very, for me, aligned in my purpose, that I've given someone an opportunity. So you know, because you never know. You maybe think this is it and I'm stressed and there's nothing I can do about it. And there are tools that are readily available for you.
Well, I love the fact that you brought up the word choice so much and how you've seen that as your purpose. Because I mean, very much more I've learned is that even just the word trauma is to do with lack of choice. It's that feeling stuck, you're backed into a corner. And so no matter, I mean, people see trauma as a very big word, but if you think of it, it can be any experience where you feel you have no out, you're stuck. And if you compare that to like if we're going back to animal instincts, it's like being chased into a corner and that feeling, that fear response. And now that could be to do with anything, and feeling like a work overload where we have no choice. It could be in a relationship where we feel like we have no choice. It could be anything. And so really, as a facilitator or therapist, it would be to let people see that they have a choice, because even if it is with good intentions, if you're telling someone they have no choice in the way that they recover, I see that as just reinforcing past traumas, which they've experienced. And so that's why I think that watching language is just very important, and just saying, I'd like to invite you to do this, or anything that I say is a suggestion. It's not an order. I'm not telling you you have to induce the tremoring response right now. This is what it is. You can do it if you'd like to.
I love that. And you know, since been in the training, choice of words is a big thing for me. And I always tell people, whenever you hear your voice from your mouth coming out, and you say, I must, I have to, this is the way it is. Uh, any of those definitive words or ultimatum words, I usually say stop and feel it in your body, because chances are high that this is a belief system, and it might not even be yours. It might be, culturally, or hopefully not imposed on you, but it's something that we reinforce when we say it ourselves to others, and when they say that to us. And definitely, if you work with the nervous system, you can get a feeling for it. How does it feel when I say that? Oh, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel that open spaciousness feeling. And I think TRE is a great tool together with grounding to help us feel the difference. What feels right and empowering, and what feels a little bit more limiting or constricting or not moving me towards where I want to go.
Yeah, everything you said has just kind of reminded me of that kind of flexibility that we're trying to find, and particularly which opens up connections. And I think that includes connections with yourself. I think so many of those rules shouldn't, must, and they may come from learning from something else, but they do stop you from connecting with your natural instincts because your brain's getting in the way. And I mean, I think one of the massive facts which I found so interesting learning about TRE is that because of the neocortex, it's humans are the ones who are experiencing trauma, and very few animals. I mean, maybe apart from a couple of like domesticated dogs, like actually get traumatized, but they do go through very overwhelming experiences. And the big difference there is the neocortex, and all our learning that we do shouldn't rules. Like we can think ourselves out of healing. Um, and so I think a massive thing that I would like to help people to create is what is your brain blocking you from doing, which is stopping your body from healing itself. And I just really like that message of hope that I think Dr. David Berceli and Peter Levine both give, which is the body is a friend, it heals itself. And so I am not healing you, I am teaching you how your body can help you, and has already helped you, particularly if you've been through really difficult times. Maybe the learning that you've done has previously kept you safe, but it's just not working anymore. So you might have to unlearn it. But it did work in the past. So your body is not malfunctioning. Like, it's not a broken object which needs fixing. It's an extremely intelligent device which has been trying to support you your whole life.
That's a beautiful message. And that's really very true in my experience as well, that we befriend the body and it becomes your most valuable or trusted ally, as I like to say, instead of, oh no, why are you doing this again, body? Coffee, come on, get going. We need to do this. Start to work together with the body, and you can create the life that you want to have and start to feel the way that we all deserve to feel, and have the capacity, I think is a better word, to feel, right? Because it all comes down to where we place our attention and our focus. But sometimes we might be in a loop, as we know, with the nervous system, where it's not really a choice. But with the grounding in theory and starting to let go of the stress, we can start to see the choices that we're making that leads us into this environment that we live in, these thoughts and these patterns and behaviors.
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. So how do you work with TRE, would you say then? Because part of the training is, like you said, we work with ourselves first, the first couple of 3.5 months. And
Mhm.
part two is working in one-on-one sessions, and part three is groups. So by this time, when you finish the program, you've already worked with a few clients. And I think for you, like you probably started to develop maybe a little bit of an idea of who has been attracted to me, who has said yes, who had benefited from my sessions. Like who would that be that comes to you for TRE? What kind of person would you say that is, or what interest do they have, or anything like that?
Well, people I've worked with, which I've found has really worked for me, is someone who has maybe tried out other options in the past. They found something hasn't worked, and they've gone. There are a lot of people who have been really seeking answers to something which is unexplained, like a symptom which is unexplained. So that could be, for example, I can't sleep, but there's no medical reason I can't sleep. I'm getting back pain, but there's no medical reason I'm getting back pain. And I found that I really connected with those type of people because for me, that's something I definitely went through was unexplained symptoms. And people often think, well, if it's not medically diagnosable or you can't see exactly what's happening, just get on with it. It'll be fine. And actually, I think that's not always the case. I know in my life, like sometimes it's taken because what is going on isn't necessarily, you can't see it. It's got to that point where you really, really need that change. And so I really want to spread that message to people as I believe you. Like, I don't think you're crazy because you haven't been diagnosed with a certain stomach condition, but I believe you that you're getting stomach pains every day. Or I believe that it's actually feels, even though you're managing to function at work and everything's fine, but I believe you that you feel completely out of your own body experience and you don't feel connected to everybody every day. Like, just because you're not screaming and shouting about it, I don't think it's not there. And I would say, I mean, I love working in groups because I love the energy which people bring, and I think actually people can create these great connections just out of the groups and help each other. But I have found working one-on-one can be extremely rewarding for me, sometimes, particularly when someone's been through that experience of not feeling quite believed, or they don't really want to make a fuss, or they've grown up with those messages of just don't make a fuss, be the easygoing one, like be that person who doesn't make a big issue out of things. And I really enjoy encouraging someone to actually feel their feelings first and just take time to notice them, because I think that's something that I've definitely struggled with in the past. So something I can very much relate to the lived experience of, and I'd really like to support other people through. Hence, actually, in the TRE training, I actually found the first module the most difficult one, the one just purely working on myself. And so I think actually, because I found that so challenging, it's enabled me to help people who also really find that challenging, people who find it really challenging to just take time to notice themselves or to speak up about what's going on for them.
That's amazing and beautiful message. And I mean, I feel I can relate to that myself. You know, that was really my own journey of finding my own answers, finding your own answers, I think it is, and having a guide that trusts you and creates a safe space for you to explore, where you don't feel judged or blamed or shamed. You just feel empowered to explore and find your own way. I mean, I think that's a great example of what you said, basically, or maybe a summary of what you said. You create that space for people to really rediscover who they are, and from there healing can start to happen.
Actually, the very first page, and I could be wrong here, but I think it was Peter Levine's book, and it was one of the first books I read on the course, and it mentioned about those unexplained symptoms. And I just remember kind of feeling a slight relief feeling, and I was like, I'm in the right place.
Mm.
And I was like, because I think it's actually quite, I think it's very challenging for the nervous system to take on not being believed, particularly if you are coming from an authentic place, just being constantly shut down. Um, and so I think hopefully by being able to spread this education and these findings, I'd like to help other people not be shut down by their experiences. Yeah.
Amazing. We're honored and privileged to have you, you know, just being you, but especially as a provider. And it's been real honor to see you, and very devoted as a student. And I have no doubts you're going to be the same as a TRE provider. How do people find you, right? Okay, I've seen this episode wherever you've seen it. How do I find you and work with you? And how does it look like? Is it online? Is it in person?
So, well, actually, I'm currently working in the centre of town in Cambridge, and those are in person. And I'm setting them up as people come to me. So I've done a few group sessions so far, or I work one-on-one, and then we figure out the best space. At the moment, I'm working at a yoga studio in the centre of town. But that would very much I'm very much open to moving location depending on what best fits my client, whether they can drive, whether they're cycling, what distance they are. I'm actually currently in the process of setting up a home studio, which I'm going to be very excited about. And that is in so very just outside of the centre of Cambridge. I'm also open to working online. So I actually work under the name currently of Soul Warrior Wellness, and that's on Instagram. But I will be adding to my current website, which is at the moment mainly focusing on my children's wellbeing workshops, but I will be increasing that for the whole of Soul Warrior Wellness, including trauma release, community therapy, and children's wellness workshops.
Amazing. So boutique style solutions basically for people. You custom make the experiences, and you are also setting up your home studio setup that you have as a base, but you're open to doing projects in other places in your vicinity.
I think it would be the most authentic way to me is I think I'm quite a custom made person. I kind of figure things out as I go, and so I'd like to give clients I work with the opportunity. Like I'm happy to work around people. I mean, obviously I can't travel in person to Australia, but like I mean, if a recent client I have can't drive, and the best location was at a certain location, but we just booked a different studio which was closer to her because it was difficult for her getting there. So if people want what I want people to know, if people want the help, like it can be flexible as the brain can be.
Amazing, amazing. Well, as I said, it's been an honor and pleasure guiding you through this program. And if you've seen this and want to do the same journey or similar journey as Bethany in your own, of course, way, because we all have our own journey, you can go to livingwiththespirit.com as well if you want to be a TRE provider, or if you just want to do the module 1 training. It's a 2-day training, which gives you an immersion to TRE, to the nervous system, and kind of teaches you disabilities. And it's a personal journey. I think that, if anything, with the program, it is a personal journey for you. So whether you choose to work with it or not, whatever you do after the program, you will walk away with a skill that just kind of enhances everything you do and doesn't take anything away from it, because you will learn how to show up more as yourself and how to work with the nervous system in any interaction you have with other people. So you're welcome to go to livingwithspirit.com for that. And if you want to do one-on-one sessions, I highly recommend you to seek out Bethany, that is seasoned and have worked with people for many years. And think your strength, really lies in creating a safe environment, like we started, right? Like that's really what I feel and seen as you taught other students. You create a safe environment where people, can't stop themselves asking you questions because they feel you're knowledgeable and you're calm and you can guide them forward. So I think that is one of your strengths, definitely, as a teacher.
And I'd say, on a side note, probably another strength of mine is allowing playfulness to come into adulthood, because I think that's something that a lot of people stop, which they don't necessarily want to. So if you are someone who likes to explore, wants to encourage a bit more playfulness into their own lives, that's definitely something that I like to encourage or work with, which is completely your choice. If that's something you don't want to do, you don't have to.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this. This was amazing. And I'll keep an extra eye on your journey, and I believe you're just going to continue to share that joyful feeling that you have inside of yourself, and I'm very, very excited to see what will come from this. So thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit about your journey.
Well, no, thank you so much, Simba, and I'm sure I shall see you soon.